Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Is that our entrance applause? Because we do have a soundboard now.
Apparently so. So we have a soundboard with a person that's not Kieran. In fact, Jason Dotson
He's
is
back
back in the studio.
Guess who's back? Back again. I'm not going to sing the rest, so we don't get takedown. I doubt me singing it will trigger
No, I don't
anything.
think so. I think it was bad.
Yeah, I'm probably singing it poorly enough. Yes.
Jason's in the studio.
Second,
I am.
Kieran couldn't make it, but Jason could, and we were like, "Hey, Jason, want to come?" And he was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I'm
that's
not
where
working
we
this
are.
morning, so let's do it.
You'll be here for the final one next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I will.
All
Kieran
four
will
of
be
us
too.
in the last episode.
Don't worry, we haven't planned one yet. So
Okay, word.
You're like, wait a second. What?
But
We could
yeah.
live stream it.
We could live stream it. That'd be fun. We're just throwing ideas right here. But
I'll have to set up a multicam live stream. That'll be interesting.
yeah, so we have two more, as we said, and so for the second to last, this will kind of be the last normal episode of just kind of regular, because we'll do something special for the finale. So it seems fitting that we have now Jason in the studio.
And we never
with
did
us.
the FNAF videos, did we?
No.
Should we just tell them what they are?
Yeah,
'Cause I
so
feel like
we
they're
were
not
had a
gonna happen.
plan. We
So
were gonna.
I wanted to do a video to where I explained the entire FNAF lore to Walker, and it would be his first time hearing it, and he hasn't seen the FNAF movie, and he'd go see the FNAF movie after that, so he'd understand a little bit more.
And then, but I also like he would only have like an hour to explain it to me. Like he wouldn't have
maybe
that much
less.
time. Like
and,
less.
And so it would just be me teaching it. It would be like kind of sketch comedy style at
Yeah.
certain points, and then the ending would be. It would be me like, well, the only way to really know the FNAF lore is to experience the origins, and then it would cut to us of walking out of our cars and then standing in front of a Chuck E. Cheese.
We were
And then
gonna
there
do a
would be
Chuck E. Cheese
second episode where
episode.
finding FNAF lore in a Chuck E. Cheese, but that never happened. So
Yeah.
if you guys want to do it, go for it. If not, we'll probably do it next summer if we
Well,
have
don't
the time.
let them take our idea.
Well,
we may still want to do it.
Then
If
don't
y'all
take
want
it.
us to still do it, let us know. Please don't steal our idea. But anyway,
if you do, just put this clip in your video.
no, we will sue. We will sue so bad. No. Anyway, so yeah, we're kind of coming to a close, but it is time to get into our first big topic of the episode. I'm waving my hand in the air, and I don't know why. Jason, what is the new topic?
All right. Our first big topic that we're getting to today is let's talk about like scores and what makes a musical score good.
Yeah, for video games, movie, TV, whatever. What are the components? And what does a score have to do so that it enhances the experience of the medium that you're playing? And I want to make something very clear, because I think there's sometimes some confusion, and I just want to clear that up before we get into this. A score is the composed music for that film. And so sometimes they're called soundtracks. And when a movie just has score, then it is called a soundtrack. However, a lot of times movies will have commercial music that backs a lot of the film, and that would be the soundtrack, and all the composed music would be considered the score. So I think I'll give a great example. The Dune soundtrack is a score because that doesn't have any commercial music. However, Goodfellas, I would say, has a very unique soundtrack because it uses a lot of like soul and rock music from like the 40s all the way into like the 70s, and then like there's a score also to that movie.
It seems all the Quentin movies only have soundtracks.
No, that's true. Yes, he does do some score. He actually, for some of his westerns, got Ennio Morricone, who's a very famous western film guy, who I'll probably talk about in this. He actually got him to score some of his like westerns. So he scored, I think, Django and Hateful Eight. But yeah, like Tarantino's a guy who's probably more well known for his soundtracks than he is known for his film scores. Whereas then you get guys like, and then you have some other movies that are known for just like they just have good scores. But yeah, let's talk about like what you think. What do you think is the most important thing if you were going to go about and you're like, okay, I'm going to score this thing? What's the first thing you want to think about?
The motive.
The motive.
One of the best scores of all time. Kind of cliche. Interstellar.
Yeah.
The reason it was written was because Christopher Nolan tasked Hans Zimmer with the challenge of writing a love soundtrack or love score, like of instead of a
Like a space sci-fi.
space one.
So he told him he basically told him without telling him anything about the movie, like it's a love story.
Yeah, or not. We say love story. It sounds like romantic. It's like a love story, father-daughter love.
Yeah.
And
But he was obviously Hans Zimmer he got to look at the movie, right?
no, all he was told was just like the story between Murph and Cooper, and then he wrote it based off of that, and then obviously had some other stuff for like the more intense sci-fi scenes, I'm sure, but that's what he based it on when he wrote the theme you hear all over Instagram with it returning up to E each time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say, I mean, I think that's very true, is getting a base idea. I think the theme of the score is probably the first thing you want to build in, and, what's that going to look like? I would say one of the most important things, I think, after that are your motifs. I mean, I think that is something that it's something that's driven music since classical music. I mean, that's just been a major component of instrumental orchestral music. And even if your film score isn't orchestral, I mean, I think motifs are still very important.
You can't just have random notes and chords.
And I for people who aren't maybe as musically inclined, a motif is essentially a common melody that is usually tied to a certain idea or character in a work. So I'll give a great example because I think a lot of our viewers maybe have played this Undertale, which I did want to talk about. So Toby Fox, in my opinion, who created Undertale and also did the score, I think is one of the masters of the motif. I think he understands when to use a motif and how to use a motif very, very well. And I'll give a great example. In Asgore's theme in Undertale, it's his theme is running through it. The dun 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 dun. So that's Asgore's theme. He slips in Toriel's melody from Herbach.
Spoilers.
I mean, most people have played it. But so that's theme slipped in. This is the first time. This is how he tells us in the game that Asgore and Toriel are connected. So we haven't really they haven't really been connected in any way except through the music. And that's when I think when the music is able to be a vehicle for the storytelling, that is when you have a really good score on your hands. Mm-hmm. Because I bet you could have, if you had no dialogue, if you were just watching a film and it was just the music, if the music could tell you obviously are going to miss some things, but if the music could tell you the base story of if you were just watching what was on screen and you really couldn't hear what they were talking about, but you could hear the music, and that could give you the overall feel of with a lot of the other stuff happening on camera. But I think that's when a score is really working at its best.
Now, Walker, I feel like you just exactly described like a 1920s black and white ragtime film.
Well, I mean, you have silent, but there's dialogue in there. I mean,
but no, like the films where they don't talk and it just rolls,
It just rolls, yeah. And so, when there's danger, they they have these very suspenseful chords they play, and exactly to my point,
Yeah. No, they're awesome.
There's
no shade.
You're acting
awesome.
like you've caught me in a lie. No, you've just provided evidence for my argument. But no, I also think it's really cool I just love when film people get really creative. And I think Hans Zimmer is one of those people who gets really creative with his film scores.
Mm-hmm. I saw this clip of him in a late night show, and he was like, when you get a crap film, it's one of the most freeing things because I can do whatever I want with this movie.
Because there's no consequence, there's no pressure. But I just think about what he did with Joker's theme in The Dark Knight. I mean, the idea of I want to you know, because his whole thing is like the weird thing with knives and razors, like that's kind of Joker's like what. So the idea that he was like, I want it to sound like a razor going over piano strings, and like that was the sound he was going for with that very haunting string part in Joker's theme.
I think one of the repetitive motifs I was thinking of was in Lord of the Rings with the ring theme, like with the
Yeah,
you know?
that's, I will say, I should remember his
Jason
name.
Smith.
I
forget who did
Howard Shore.
Yeah.
Such an amazing soundtrack. I mean, another great use of motifs. I mean, every kingdom, every faction, every character, it feels like they have these motifs that he's able to use so well, you know? And there's not even like, you know, you listen to it, there's not even like, I think the only like song in there that's like is like the Shire theme, you know? But everything else, I mean, he just like has just motifs and he just throws them in when he needs to. So there's not even like, I feel like a complete, here's 3 minutes of this, you know? He just uses what he has so well, and there's so much. One guy I do want to talk about, and in terms of like being creative, is who I mentioned earlier, Ennio Morricone, who I think I'm pronouncing his name right. He's Italian, so I could totally be pronouncing it wrong. But he scored a lot of the big spaghetti westerns. So Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, Once Upon a Time in the West. So a bunch of famous westerns. And so like that Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme. I mean, what is it? It's like strings, surf guitar. Like it's some of the weirdest instruments put together. But the way he makes it work, he creates something that like somehow that feels so not Western. I mean, none of the instruments you're hearing in those soundtracks, few of them come from that world of the Old West, but he makes it so, you know, like he makes that equate to the vibe of the Old West so well. You know?
Yeah. I haven't seen those movies, so I'm not told.
Yeah. But have you not heard the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme?
I think so.
Wah,
Yeah.
wah, you know?
Yeah.
Like such weird instruments when you actually listen to that song, you know?
Did you ever finish listening to the heard about Dark Mode?
I didn't. Did y'all talk about
this is kind of like this is similar to what we were talking about, except we listened to soundtrack section and explained the reasons behind it.
Oh, yeah. Do you have any other people you want to
I'm trying to think of.
I can.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, I am a little bit of a musical theater nerd. And as being an audio person, like the book or score of the musical is just really important to me and how I take the musical, because if, you know, the music behind it isn't any good, then I can't fall in love with the story, or the characters won't be as enticing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so musicals will sometimes they'll pick one genre of music and play the one genre of music through the whole show. Like, you could kind of say that Hamilton is one genre of music through the entire show. But then you have...
What would you call that genre?
I have no idea.
What, Hamilton?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hip-hop.
Oh, that's exactly it.
Yeah. What would you call it? I'm like, guys, it's the main reason it was so popular.
Leave it
was
to
a
Walker
hip-hop
to stop me and Jackson from overthinking. But then this big part about musicals is sometimes you have these musicals, like I did one a couple weeks ago called Next to Normal, and it's a pretty heavy show that kind of focuses on the bipolar disorder of a mother of a suburban family. And so the music really drastically changes with all of her moments, and that it's just so important to the story. And it's maybe not something that everybody will watching is like, oh, it's a really heavy rock number here because she's angry, and then it's going to immediately switch to like violoncello.
I think that was the reason I wasn't the biggest fan of that musical, was actually the music. I didn't think there was, like, most of the songs were just there. None of them were iconic.
I see what you're saying.
Like, there wasn't like that's the number.
Shows need an iconic number.
But I feel like, you
Like
know,
at least two.
I was in a production of Big Fish, the musical.
And that has iconic numbers.
I don't think that has
I
necessarily.
Can See America.
Okay, Out There on the Road, like there are big numbers, but there's none that like stick.
Out There on the, at least when Big Fish is done correctly. Throwing shots here. Sorry.
Really good. No, but I do love it. Don't get me wrong. I love that musical.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any like. I think the opening number, obviously, because it's an opening number.
And I also think Out There on the Road.
Yeah, and those are my two favorite songs. But I think when you're talking about, but I also see what you're saying. But speaking of musicals, another one I think, and you're talking about the way it fits the vibe is, I find very interesting about Fiddler on the Roof. And if you listen to Fiddler on the Roof beginning to end, the whole movie's about tradition. The whole musical is about tradition. And so the first act is pretty much all very like traditional, like Yiddish songs, like from that, from like the Eastern European Jewish culture. So it's all that vibe. And so then you break into Act 2 a little bit, where the tradition is starting to be challenged a little bit through the characters and all that. The music itself, thank you for bringing the mugs into frame. We forgot about that. The music itself starts to change to less of what it sounded like in the first act and more into kind of like traditional show tune songs, which I find very interesting. So that the style of the music is changing with the characters' feelings towards tradition.
Okay, I think we're getting to the point to what makes music good or bad for the medium you're watching it on. I think if you use music to storytell, it's good.
It's good, yeah. And I think that's what I said earlier, when it is helping you carry the story along, that is when it's at its best.
And it has to sound good, of course.
It has to sound good. It can't sound bad.
That's a given.
And it's always like, music is always I think is so imperative, and I don't think people realize that, because I remember
it's so important.
There's a great docuseries on some different movies on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us, and they talk about Home Alone is one of them, and they talked about how they were working on this movie and it was all right, it was a pretty fun like family movie. They did not expect to get John Williams to score that film. They was kind of like a shot in the dark. He agreed. And everyone in that documentary who worked on the movie talked about how much better that movie became when they had a guy like John Williams score. I mean, they talked about it just went from this like pretty fun family movie to this like amazing film that we had all made.
People say that like movies are like 60% or audio. I would say it's more like 80% audio, which that includes sound effects and other stuff like that. But music is part of that. And so music is actually such a huge role in whatever you're consuming in media like that, and that's a great example of showing that it is.
I do think we need to wrap this section up, but one guy that I feel like would be totally amiss to not mention him is Michael Giacchino. And one thing that Michael Giacchino I wanted to say about Michael Giacchino, which I am stealing this from Drew Gooden, talks a lot about this in his video on Lost, because there's like a video inside that video where he talks about
Did you
Michael
watch
Giacchino.
Lost?
I never watched Lost.
No, did you watch his Lost video?
Yeah, I've seen his Lost.
Did it spoil?
It spoiled. I mean, I already knew a lot of stuff.
Come on.
But before that video, but his Michael Giacchino video, and he talks about Michael Giacchino, and one thing he talks about is how much he does not have one style. He is very much like I'm going to compose the music that matches the tone of the film. And I think that's how you should do it.
And I think that's a very important skill, because he did point out, like, John Williams is still great, and I love John Williams. He has a unique music, like it is his musical style, and so bringing John Williams in is saying, I want his style of music to match, because I think his music matches this movie. And so, which is why I think he works with a lot of the same guys. He works with Spielberg, he works with Lucas, because they go together really well.
I think Hans Zimmer he doesn't have a style. If his style was anything, it would be that it's like the
scale. I would say his
scale.
Is the scale. It's his thing is scale. So it's like, if you want the large scale soundtrack, you get a Zimmer. Giacchino is just a guy who works his butt off. And if you just look at all the different soundtracks he's done,
Incredibles.
He's did the Incredibles, and then he also does Inside Out, and that's the two that Drew Gooden talks about, is how different those are. Very, like, totally different soundtracks on totally different ends of the spectrum
For the same people.
And like, he also did Batman. That Batman soundtrack was amazing. And he used like 2 motifs in it. like 2 motifs in that Batman film.
Yep.
And he made a whole soundtrack out of it. And my voice cracked when I was talking about that. And I'm very embarrassed that that's on recording. But 2 motifs. And, it's just that dun, 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 dun. And he made a whole soundtrack based off that kind of it. And he obviously composed a lot more than that. I'm just making a point. And just, you look at all the movies he composed. He composed a Star Wars movie. Like, he was that. Like, he did Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, so, and was able to take what John Williams had done and really retool it into something different. And it definitely has a different vibe. But it still works. I mean, he makes it work. Fun fact, Michael Giacchino also does all the soundtracks to the Medal of Honor video game series.
Hold on a second. I have no idea what happened. My computer just gave me a warning that Pro Tools ran out of CPU power.
Does it stop recording?
Yeah, it did.
When?
I'm trying to see how long ago it stopped recording.
We're recording on the iPhone camera now. Yay.
Yay. You may just be hearing audio from the iPhone.
The audio is going to be really bad. We might have to talk up a little bit.
Two motifs in that Batman film, and he made a whole soundtrack out of it. Is when it stopped.
Okay. Can you get it back running again, or?
I'm gonna try, and I just won't be on Chrome anymore because I was trying to look up stuff for Twister.
All right.
Well, right now we'll just use the iPhone.
We'll just use the iPhone camera as Jason gets
microphone.
back. Well, we can jump back to when that wasn't that long ago. We'll just wait until you start it up again. This is the behind the scenes look as we see Jason get. So this is like the extra. We'll slap this on the end of the episode, maybe, guys.
Or just keep it how it is.
Or just keep it how it is. It's a little sloppy looking.
Going along with the show that messes it up is a lot more fun than a show that's boring and straightforward, in my opinion. Like one time, one of the podcasts I listened to, The Wan Show, I've talked about this before. It's Linus Tech Tips podcast. And one time they lost power entirely. And luckily they have like big batteries to back
Like
up.
auxiliary.
To back up the WAN show, because the WAN show never doesn't happen. I think they're on a streak of it's like 1,000 episodes or something like that. It's crazy. And so all their lights went out around them, but they were still there, and then they were able to turn them on and connect them to the battery. And it was one of the most enjoyable things to listen to, not even watch. I wasn't even watching it. But that actually sparked a new thing called WAN Show After Dark. And that was for their merch message section questions.
How we looking, Jason?
All right, I have y'all's audio back, and I just started a new recording.
Okay.
All right, it's working now.
All right,
We're back.
we're back.
We're
Chino, Batman soundtrack. So yeah, sorry, we had to mess up with the audio, so it may have looked like it jumped, and because it did, because there was just like a 2-minute gap there. But I'm gonna just wrap that up, and but yeah. So Michael Giacchino, I think, did want to mention him just because if you just look at all the soundtracks he's done, because he's done so many, and they're all so different, and he's just his willingness to, just do what needs to be done for that film and not say, but, what about my style? And he understands that it's not about him, it's about the work. And I think I really appreciate him for that. So, yeah, that's scores for us, music scores for us. What's our next topic, Jason?
So, the next thing that we're going to be talking about today
Audio
is...
in movies.
One more time?
No, he's lying. Jackson is lying, guys. Can't believe him.
Terrible. Anyways, so as most of us know, the new movie Twisters came out, I believe, a couple weeks ago.
It was actually like a month ago now.
Oh my
It's been a
gosh.
while. Yeah, it's been out for a while.
It was a month. No, it was 2 weeks ago.
No, we hadn't seen it. Well, no, yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. I keep thinking we're way farther in August than I think we actually are. Yeah, it was only
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago. That
And I believe that it was a pretty big hit in, the whole
pretty
movie.
popular.
world.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed.
There's-
Yeah, we'll talk
I've
about
talked
it.
to a lot of people who really enjoyed
didn't
that.
like it.
So, yeah, we're
shout
just
out
going to
there.
We're gonna talk
review
about
the movie.
review Twisters. Now, funny enough, so Jackson and I we watched Twisters very recently. We've never seen the original '90s film Twister. Jason here has said he has seen Twister, but he has not seen the sequel remake yet.
But he doesn't remember a lot.
He doesn't
I have.
remember a lot.
Twister was one of those movies that I watched late at night with my father, just off a whim. And so it's a late 90s action movie.
Yeah.
So like it has the fun CGI and the VFX, and it tells a pretty okay story, and it was entertaining, but there was nothing about it that was like, oh my gosh, this is a
yeah,
great
exactly
and
movie.
that's how we felt about
Except the
Twister's a lot.
CG was immaculate. It was really good in this.
Yeah,
one.
the tornadoes looked really good, and all the effects were really good. Now, one thing, so the original Twister, I haven't seen it yet, but does have one of the greatest actors of all time, Philip Seymour Hoffman, a super young Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Who?
You would know him. He's in a ton of stuff. He was the game master in the second Hunger Games.
I haven't seen the Hunger Games.
Okay. Well, never mind. I don't think you would know him. He tragically died in 2015, but was considered like one of the best character actors working while he was around. And one of his first films was Twister. Twisters, I will admit though, had a really good cast. I think all the cast was pretty good.
Yeah.
One thing I will appreciate is there's a point in the movie where you think it's about to get very cringy. And because like a YouTube channel shows up.
We could spoil. We're gonna say spoiler warning for
Spoiler
Twisters.
warning for Twister starting
I don't
now.
think many people care. So
If you've seen the trailer, you've gotten the gist of the film. There's not like a ton going on.
Just jump 20 minutes ahead and
yeah,
you'll be good.
We'll get to, but so Twisters, it's basically they're all these different groups. So one group is trying to like get data on a tornado, and there's another group that are like, it's a YouTube channel that does stuff where they go around. And so I expected when the YouTube channel to show up, be like, this is gonna get so cringy, like they're gonna be. And I to their credit, it was not cringy. Like I think it actually legitimately felt like a real YouTube channel or like streaming group that would actually exist.
Yeah.
And they all were everyone acted normally in that. So it was actually pretty good. That part was fine. So I actually do give them points for that, because I feel like, and I've been surprised because I usually get scared, but there's been a lot of instances where studios have actually handled, I feel like, modern, streaming and stuff like that. Like Free Guy, I expected to be very cringy. It was not that cringy for the Ryan Reynolds movie about the video game.
Okay, yeah.
I expected that to be very cringy, and it wasn't. I think they handled it really well. And Twisters, I expected, we're in a major studio having their main characters be Twitch streamers and YouTubers. I expected that they're going to wreck this, and actually the characters were well made. But no, I mean, the characters were interesting. They were interesting enough where I was like, I like these characters, and I'm interested in these characters. And there was actually some twists. Like there were parts of it where I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. You know?
Yeah. One of the things I really liked about it was at the end is the two leads lined up and they looked like they were about to kiss, but that they didn't.
One thing I did appreciate.
It did not.
And it's not that they're not dating.
Well, we don't know that.
But it looks like it was. I did appreciate that, because it was like, I think they're going to start dating, but they're not going to like start dating. They're not going to like cheesy kiss, which I did appreciate that.
Yeah.
That the leads.
It was nice not
kiss.
to have a Rise of Skywalker on us.
It wasn't even that. It was just like, usually in like, in a romance, in a film with romance, the romance starts off with a kiss, which I feel like can sometimes be unrealistic, and I think when it's a more grounded like that, I think it's more realistic. I think another great point, the two leads in Holdovers, there's like their last scene together, they don't hug. And I remember when we were watching that, my dad was like, "Oh, I'm glad they didn't hug." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Because that so would have been out of character for them for the last 90 minutes of this movie. They just shake hands, which is way more for those characters." So I think the characters. One thing I will ding the movie for is the main lead. I forget her name. The character. She's supposed to be from Oklahoma, and so the actress was doing an Oklahoma accent. Sometimes.
Well, the thing was that she lived in New York for the past few years, so
even in the flashback, it felt like her accent was
I
going
thought the
in and out.
flashback she did fine Oklahoma accent.
I
but
felt like it was going in and out a lot.
I think throughout the movie, I think it made sense because she lived in New York, and that when you move to a new place,
That
it
is
kinda
true.
changes
Yes,
you.
I know that is true, and so maybe it was like it comes and goes.
I thought her accent was fine at the beginning.
I felt like there was this weird thing where like I could tell that it wasn't her accent, and so it was kind of like, and it was fine for Glenn Powell because he's actually from Texas, and so he's from Texas. So I think
everybody's
that was just
obsessing over him now. It's really funny.
I think he's he just kind of showed up. He's been in a lot of movies just over the years. The first thing I saw him in was an amazing rom-com called Set It Up. That was the first time I knew oh, that's a guy named Glenn Powell. And so I just think he's very charismatic. He's just a really solid actor.
My brother said he was better than Ryan Reynolds.
He's not better than Ryan Reynolds. No one is better than Ryan Reynolds. But I think he's going to be... My dad thinks he's going to be like the next Matthew McConaughey. Is what my dad thinks he's going to be. He's this Texas actor who's very charming. What he is in, Glenn Powell, I didn't know until recently. He's in The Dark Knight Rises and has like 2 lines. And he's also has a bit part in Spy Kids 3 when he was like super, super young.
You know who else is in Spy Kids 3?
Sylvester Stallone.
Jeff Winger. What's the actor's name from Community?
Joel McHale?
Yeah.
Oh, is he? Oh,
he's the dad. He's the dad.
Oh, no, that's in Spy Kids 4.
4, sorry.
4.
not
No,
3.
I do remember that. He's in Spy
confused
Kids 4. Spy Kids 3 is the one. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone is in it. And, the other big cameo in Spy Kids 3, I know we're on another one of our great tangents. Elijah Wood, the guy who played Frodo, is the guy.
I'm the guy.
Which a friend told me, Elijah Wood said in an interview, he appreciates it way more when someone calls him the guy, like on the street.
Than
Frodo.
Frodo.
It's like, you're the guy. He's like, thank you.
The guy. Because he somehow stepped out of being like the only like the Hobbit character. He's been so much other stuff. Because like you see like certain actors and you see them and you're like, that they can't be there. Like seeing Ryan from The Office and Inglourious Bastards just doesn't make sense because he's Ryan from The Office.
That is so jarring.
Yeah.
He's like out there with all the soldiers.
And so it's like, but Elijah Wood is able to manage and be in other stuff.
He's able to do that well. And I think Viggo Mortensen, who's Aragorn, does a really good job with that. He's in it. Anyway, back to Twisters. But yeah, it was a very solid like I'm gonna go in there and I know I'm gonna get a fun, somewhat cheesy movie, disaster kind of action movie. That's not gonna be like that changed me, but I'm gonna be entertained for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
One thing I will
That's what I was
appreciate,
expecting. That's what I got.
the cinematography of kind of, is in Hurricane Alley and that kind of Midwest. There was some great cinematography and shots of kind of the Midwest and kind of the open fields and stuff. It was a really cool scene in a like a wind power kind of field with all these what are they called? Turbines.
Turbines,
Right?
yeah.
With a bunch
Wind
of turbines.
turbines.
And they're like some of them are like crashing out from the winds and they're like ducking. They have this like car. The Glenn Powell's character has this like car that can survive tornadoes and he's like ducking and weaving through all the turbines.
Don't ask how it survives tornadoes. It's crazy.
He puts enough weight on it and he has the drills.
He has the drills, that is fair.
It should not have survived the EF5 at the end. That was crazy that like the EF5 stays pretty okay the whole time.
From hearing what you've heard, Jason, what do you think of Twisters so
What
far?
do you think of Twisters so far? Does it sound better than the first one?
Man, it's one of those movies that I know that I'm going to watch when it comes out just to have like, a fun Friday night with some friends snacking and watching a really okay movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what it
It
is.
was good. And
It's fun though. Like
it's fun.
not-
Like I will admit, it was better than I expected. I was
Yes.
expecting like a 6 out of 10, and I think it was a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And that's, not a big jump, but I think it's big enough that you're like,
Yeah.
That's my review of that. I think that sums up how I felt about the movie pretty well.
Yeah, instead of the thumbs up, thumbs down, it's
It's like a here's what I will say. I don't know if I'd rather have a or would I rather just watch all the Sharknadoes in one night, knowing I can just laugh at
I've never
those.
seen one.
You've never seen a
seen a
Sharknado?
Sharknado?
No, I have not.
I've seen up to 4. I didn't watch 5 and 6, though I do know how. Do you know how the series ends, Jason?
So
I thought they're still making them.
No, they ended it because in the 6th movie, they figure out how to time travel and they try to go back in time to stop the Sharknadoes from ever existing. And so they basically erase the first 5 movies from ever actually happening.
Oh my gosh. Okay, have you ever seen the Tremors movies? I'm going to open up Safari again, and if it crashes my computer again.
Tremors?
Yeah.
Are they like, it's an earthquake film, like disaster earthquake film?
So,
Do y'all remember that movie Moonfall that came out about the moon crashing into the earth?
So stupid.
That looks so bad.
So stupid.
so I was sick one weekend, and I was at my grandparents' house sick, and I think I watched 9. There's only 7 Tremors movie. I watched 5 of the 7 Tremors
There's
movies.
7 Tremors movies?
And so it's just about like little ground worms that shake the earth and then eat people. It's like the cheap version of Dune, I guess. But it
in, like,
gives
the
the
country,
same
right?
vibes as Sharknado, where
Yeah.
it's just a trash
It's like the
film, but it's fun
Midwest,
to
right?
watch.
Well,
Yeah.
you know,
I think I've
Sharknado
seen
1 is like an
half the
hour.
first one.
The first Sharknado film's like an hour, and then like the second one. So it's funny. I think the first one I think is the classic because that was them trying, and it's just such a catastrophe. And the second one, I think they realized what they were like what they had. This gold mine of so bad it's good, and so it's like there's money pumped into it, but it's not used well purposefully. I'm pretty sure. But they have like the lead singer of Sugar Ray in the second Sharknado for some reason as the brother-in-law. So it's like, I just think stuff like that is funny. I just think my favorite plot though is that there are people that believe the main character is causing the Sharknadoes to occur because he just happens to be wherever they happen. Though the best scene, have you seen Sharknado 3?
Probably, one of those movies.
It's
that
the
is
one.
there
It's
in my
the best
noggin.
scene in any. It's the opening sequence of Sharknado 3 is when he's getting recognized by the president for his work stopping the Sharknadoes, and it's Mark Cuban as himself as the president, who is a shark on Shark Tank, which I think what they were going for. And there's like a scene where like they attack the Sharknado attacks the White House, and Mark Cuban and the main character Sharknado are like going at sharks with shotguns.
What a stupid series.
I'm really excited for the people who didn't want the Twister spoilers and they just skipped 20 minutes and they're hearing Walker talk about Sharknado and Mark Cuban.
Hey man, I love the fact that Mark Cuban was willing to do that. But no. But I will say, Twisters, here's my review. Twisters, it's better than Sharknado.
It's probably better than the first
And
one.
hey, I don't know
Maybe. I
why.
need to
So
watch it.
in the Twisters, the whole thing is that they try to stop tornadoes. Why didn't they just go in Sharknado? They already know how to stop tornadoes. They throw bombs in the center of the cyclone. Why don't they do that in Twisters?
I feel like we've tried that in
Hey,
real life with
Jackson.
hurricanes.
Your iPhone just stopped recording because your storage is full.
Are we recording here?
We are recording sound still.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rest of the episode is an audio only exclusive. Welcome to
Well,
this.
you can just have like the Subway Surfers
no,
playing.
just have a freeze frame of us like doing this, and so maybe they'll buy it. That it's us.
Just leave your mouth open at 25% and then
Yeah. We'll
the-
just take some photos
thing
of
gets
us moving around, kind of like that sequence in Phineas and Ferb where it cuts to the creators pitching the episode, and it's kind of like in chop frame. Yeah. We're
reason
gonna go.
my phone is so full because my family's iCloud storage was running out, and I had fixed it a lot for everybody, but I wanted to make it as low as possible, so I went through and took everything from iCloud and put it on my phone or my Mac, and so now I'm using like less than a gigabyte of our iCloud storage just to say I'm using the less. And now
The principle of the
what?
thing. It's the principle. Yeah. So, final review of Twisters as we wrap this episode up. Okay. That's my review of it.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
You think you agree?
Yeah.
Well, we'll finish this episode, I guess, Well, we were going to finish it up soon, I think, before you got just audio.
We have the game though,
We do have the game, though.
We
We're going to
do
do the
have the
pitch
game.
game.
and this is where you should use your soundboard more.
Yes.
All right, let's see if I open it up and it crashes audio, then
Then they have nothing to listen to, and we're just gonna have to. Oh gosh.
I'm just going to have to stop it. But if y'all, while he's getting that set up, if y'all don't remember the pitch game, Jason's going to pitch us, both of us, the same topic. One of us will go first, and we will pitch our idea based around that topic. It's like a service or something, and then the other person
What is
will go.
happening this episode? First
Yeah.
we lose audio. And
Well,
now
Jackson
visual's
decided to
gone,
take
and
the moral high ground on iCloud, and now we have no video. So thanks, Jackson, and his
I can
moral
turn
high
these lights
ground.
off.
Oh yeah, because we don't need the
They don't
lighting
really
anymore.
blind us anymore. They always blind my peripheral.
But yeah, and then Jason will pick which pitch he likes the best, and so it's a pretty simple game. Jason's getting the soundboard set up, I guess, and if the soundboard crashes the audio, I'll just do a preemptive send off. So if the soundboard crashes, I'll see y'all on the other side if we get the audio back up and running. Did it work?
Okay, maybe.
I think Jason's a bad omen. There we go.
The pitch game with Jason and the
As your
cast of Heard About It. It's the pitch game. His microphone
All right,
fell
now that
off
we
the
have
stand.
no visuals, y'all have no idea.
His
I'm gonna
microphone keeps falling off.
I'll be back. Y'all two distract them.
What are you doing? We lost Jackson. This has been maybe one of the. I know it was really funny, Jason. We said last episode. I think season 2 is no offense to Jason. Season 2 has gone a lot better than season 1. Maybe it was offense to you because you showed up and everything. It's kind of back to season 1 problems.
You know what? And that's okay. I don't know how to stop
whose
this.
song
I don't
is
know how
this?
to use this sound pad. And I only have the free version, so it's only gonna work 8 times.
No, how many times was that?
Like, I can only open up the app
Okay,
8 more
okay.
times for the rest of forever.
Whose song is that originally? The
Kenny, no, it's not Kenny G. It's,
not Kenny G. It's like a famous pop song.
it is. It's called Careless Whisper.
Oh. Who sings Careless Whisper? Jackson, who sings Careless Whisper? Did you get a Space Force shirt on? Did you change shirts?
I've had this.
That's the same shirt, Walker. Way
What?
to pay
I'm
attention.
sorry.
No, I went to go clear my throat and nose, so y'all didn't have to bear with me coughing so much.
All right. Jackson's back. Let's start the pitch game before the audio crashes, Jason.
All right. Yep, it's still recording as of right now.
Okay, topic.
All right, the thing that you're going to pitch to me that I definitely in this moment know what it is.
Who's too busy getting the soundboard set up?
All right, you're going to pitch me a new platform to consume media.
Oh,
So-
like a new streaming kind of platform?
Like it could be something that you visually watch media. It could be something that you like audibly watch media. It could be something that like it's a suit that you put on and you like.
Don't.
Yeah. Don't give us ideas, but yeah.
right.
So it's got to be. All right. Do you want to like rock paper scissors to see who goes first and last?
Oh, also, guys, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, pause.
Oh my God, no, hold
pause.
on.
Jackson Walker, pause. No, pause.
Yes.
All right, audience, I gotta walk y'all through what just happened. They tied like 9 times in a row, and then who just won? Was it Walker?
I just won
Yeah.
on like the 10th time, but yeah, we just rock paper scissors to see who goes first, and that went.
We both
way
have the
like-
same strategies.
They did the same thing, probably about 10 times, and
That's
then
like
Walker
the,
finally won.
That's like the pitch pilot for a regular show. The pilot J.G. Quindle gave to Cartoon Network that wasn't actually the pilot was about them. They like tie 100 times in rock paper scissors, and it summons like a black hole in the park because they're like fighting over a chair. But so I guess do I go first? I guess I go first since you go. Yeah, I'll choose to go first since I won. So new platform to consume media in.
I have my answer already, so.
All right. It's like so it's a jacket that you pay you pay a monthly subscription for. But this jacket has like a built-in screen that comes up in the front. And it's called Jacket Watch is the name of the platform. And so and it's basically just like a streaming service that you wear this jacket And it also has podcasts that comes with like headphones that are built into the jacket. And so you can just walk around watching your stuff on this jacket. And we do have originals. We do have Jacket Watch originals. Like, what are the Jacket Watch originals we have? Heard About It. We did move to Jacket Watch. We got the Jacket Watch deal in this scenario. We'll move them over to Jacket Watch. It'll be a Jacket Watch original. We're gonna have. I have to pitch a show now because I told you we would have originals. The Dr. Pepper show, and it's basically all the sodas are people, and it's about the sodas living their lives as sodas and trying to one up each other. So that's an exciting one. The Among Us show got dropped by HBO, and we picked it up. So the Among Us show by the Infinity Train people is now on Jacket Watch. Jacket Watch for the streamer on the go.
Oh, you gave me a little quip with that one.
Yeah. But are you visually... I'm just making sure everyone can visually imagine this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a jacket, and
it's a jacket
there's like a
and like
thing that like comes in front of you, and there's a screen attached to it. So there's always a screen in front of you while you wear this jacket.
Word. All right, Jackson, pitch me your idea.
How heavy is the jacket?
You don't get to ask questions. It's time for pitch.
I can ask questions.
Fine, then I'll ask
said
questions.
like 3
Fine.
episodes ago. It said
Fine, you can ask questions.
Never have I ever
It's
said that you
super
have to-
light. It's super light.
How so? What kind of display is it?
It's an OLED. It's like the size of a Switch OLED, you know,
Okay.
but a little bigger. But
Okay.
like that's a Switch, you know.
Okay.
It's like a little bigger than a Switch OLED. You know, this
So
is like
it's small.
an OLED.
You know what they say? They say small screens are bad for you. They cause eye strain.
The small screens are bad for you. They could. I messed
So
with my
my
glasses when I did
solution
that.
to screens being bad for your eyes. First, let me start off with one of my favorite podcasts that I ever listened to was this one called Batman: The Audio Adventures, and it's a story told through audio alone, and you have to visualize what's going on. With that being said, let me tell you what my product is. Are you familiar with the massage chairs at the mall or airport?
Oh yeah, I love the
Yeah,
the,
yeah, I know
I
what
love
you're talking
the
about.
mall.
So imagine that, but instead you take the haptics from a PlayStation 5 controller that are really good and slap them into the base of that chair and I'm going to do 5 channels of audio around your ear for a good surround sound system. And there is no screen. Instead, you're consuming media that is designed. This media is designed for this chair that is specifically for that. And basically, you're consuming it through specific vibrations around the backside of your body entirely, and also just sound. And your job is to visualize, and it encourages creative thinking and thinking in general, because you have to visualize what's going on. Thank you.
Now I will say there's other forms of that are different because it's not audio strictly, but there is the 4DX theaters, which
Yeah, but
are
there's a
similar.
screen.
But there's a screen, and they did create for VR that audio chest, not audio vest. So
Audio
that,
vest?
yeah, it's like this like.
I thought
cool-
it was the haptic vest.
Well, I think it's technically just speakers. I think there's maybe
They
some
just
haptics.
vibrate. They're very cheap,
Yeah.
from what I remember.
So I'm just saying, like, are you gonna get enough people to work on that?
Yeah.
Like medium, you think you'll get the people who want to deal with programming for that chair?
I think it'd be a cool experience. Maybe it could be even like a
Like, will there be special audiobooks? Like, are there can I?
yeah, you
can
could
it
have
just be
audiobook. You can
audiobooks?
buy this chair and have it in your house.
But I mean, like, will you not just special adventures? Like, will you like adapt already pre-existing audiobooks
Yes.
for this?
Yes.
thing? Okay.
It'll be like the team that was working on the old gen Xbox games and making them compatible with the new one.
I guess.
Jason, what do you think?
Okay, I kind of love your idea, Jackson, just because being a little bit of an audio nerd myself, I think that would be awesome and so fun to work on and so fun to like play with.
For example, we have an audio technician already willing to work on that chair, Walker.
No, 100% I
Work
would.
on that chair.
Yeah. Okay, and then like the possibilities that would open up if that became a normal thing. Could you imagine having like 5.1.2 surround sound in cars and stuff? Just
Yeah.
at
Yes.
a normal basis?
Yes. But I think you were transitioning to a but about my idea. I think that's where this was going, Jason. You can't see it, but I'm giving Jason the meanest look right now. So who won, Jason?
That's the sound of his
12.
jacket.
That is the sound of the jacket. I think your jacket would be picked up by maybe, I don't know,
It's a lot cheaper than the chair.
it is.
It may be cheaper, but the experience is degraded.
It is. Okay, hear me out. This is what I'm thinking. This jacket almost feels more practical, but the chair, assuming that I could give Jackson enough money to make it work and make it be like the next big thing, would be awesome. But even if this jacket was the next big thing, I wouldn't get one myself.
Yeah, I don't understand, because you could just pull out your phone, which is almost the same size as the Switch OLED, and put headphones in, and that's pretty much.
But
the
you're
basis
having
of
a
the
whole.
jacket.
Then that's you doing this. You can't see it, but it'd be like holding the phone out in
but
front of
are
you while walking.
Even still, are
It's
you gonna-
hands-free.
Do you need that visual stimulus when you're walking? Don't
In
you need-
today's society, yes. I'm trying to get us
Aren't
to
you-
Wall-E.
Aren't you like? If you look around, you can get enough dopamine.
I
from
give
just
the
the
people what
environment.
they want, Jackson. You can enjoy. You can try to get people back
You're
into
taking
the world.
advantage of people.
Welcome to capitalism.
I feel as if I made my decision.
Yeah.
The next big thing that I am funding and publishing
It's the jacket.
is the chair.
Yeah. How many of these have I won in the past?
You've
I've
won you a lot.
Pretty
You've
much
done really
all.
well these past few episodes. Past few times you've done this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's gonna be all. Are we still? Do we still manage to record?
Are we
We're
still
not-
recording?
Yeah, we're still recording.
Okay,
Nice.
awesome.
Well, that's great, guys. Yeah.
Well-
Ooh, you should have done that when we were talking about Twister. Was that a lightning?
Oh, this is lightning.
Should have done that when we were
Should've
talking
done
about
that when we were
Twister.
talking about Twisters.
Twisters.
I
Sorry.
could also just have rain ambience too.
Oh, why didn't you do that when we had Twisters?
Anyway, a lot of missed opportunity.
We'll have more.
We'll have a soundboard
We'll
next time.
hopefully have the soundboard embedded into the episode next time instead
Yeah.
of running through a microphone. And
Yeah.
next episode, we are going to have me here. You can't see me here, Walker there. And across from me is either going to be Jason or Kieran. And across from Walker is either going to be Jason or Kieran. And we're going to have 4 people at the table doing
We'll be doing
whatever.
something.
We'll be doing something. We're trying to figure that out.
We'll figure it out. But yeah,
And
final episode
hopefully
coming up.
we'll be streaming it.
Yes.
It's going to be an interesting way. I'll have to do some research into multicam streams. And I think, Jason, does this make sense? I'm talking about audio stuff specific on this podcast. I don't think
We don't
y'all
have
care.
that.
But anyways, what if we had the interface from us two, and then I'm using a splitter for the mono one, and then every time there's audio pickup from ours, it cuts to our camera. Every time there's audio pickup from yours, it cuts to your camera. Does that make sense?
Yeah, is that a thing that we can do?
That's a thing.
We'll
Certain
figure it
software can
out
do that.
after
Anyways,
off camera.
we'll figure it
Anyway,
out.
y'all have a nice day. Thank you for so much for sticking around this long in the
Especially
episode
with
through
it.
all the technical glitches. We'll see you in the final Heard About It episode. Well, kind of final, but final regular Heard About It episode.
Goodbye,
you
y'all.
so
See
much
y'all
for
the next
watching.
time.
Have a good
on
week.
Heard About It.
Take care. Drink water.
Drink
Make sure
plenty
to eat
of water.
at least 2 meals a day.
Yes.
3.
Or 5 small meals throughout the day. That's the scientific recommendation that they don't tell you about.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Bwa-da-da-da, bwa-da-da-da, bwa-da-da-da-da. Wa-da. Everything I do is chaotic, y'all.